Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. It is a Thursday. We've got news. We've got some transfer news, although not really for January, more for the summer, and it's not the greatest news. We'll be talking about that. We're talking about the game last night, the reaction to the game last night, Saka, Gyokeres. That's a little bit of drama that I don't think needs to be drama. Zenchenko, bit of news on him as well. But before we get into all of that, if I could please ask you to subscribe. We're on the way to 29,000 subscribers. And if you could like the video as well, I would be massively grateful. There's loads of you in here, which we love to see. Yakub, Vivi, Vlad, Ethan Udall, Logical Nonsense, Pigeonhead, Peter, Jim. Welcome. Good to see so many of you last night in the back post watch along as well. That was fantastic. Robert, Fredo, Papa Duddy, welcome. We're linked with Rodrigo and Yildiz. It is the same as the summer when Arteta wanted options for a striker. Hopefully. Will says, great showing from the Goon Platoon in the watch-along yesterday, up the tune. There you go. Up the tune obviously has a slightly different meaning with Newcastle fans. But there you go. Rory did me dirty on the back post watch-along, switching up on YouTube day ones. That's not true. How did I do you dirty? Ethan Udall, did you see the AirPod Albert and Rice argument in the tunnel just before the second half? Yeah, that's another one of those things. Something of nothing. Absolutely something of nothing. I don't know what they were arguing about. I think it was... I don't know. It seemed like Rice just didn't want to be waiting in the tunnel, basically. But yeah, I'm not really sure what it was about, but I'm certain it was nothing significant. Rory on the grind. We're truly back. Oh, we are back. We are on the grind. And when I say we're on the grind, I am talking preview stream tomorrow. Big Up streams are back. Saturday, we're doing a watch along on Big Up for the Arsenal-Nottingham Forest game. So those are back as well. They've had some big updates over on Big Up as well. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into those. And yeah, we're full steam ahead. Between this and back post, you've got wall-to-wall coverage. Last night feels like a loss. We're going to talk about this because I strongly disagree with you. I respect your opinion, but I strongly disagree with it in terms of last night feeling like a loss. And I think... yeah, I think there's a lot to talk about there with the way that both sets of fans have reacted to it. I think it's quite interesting. Heart is broken. My position as the Goon Platoon commander is now under heavy consideration. Might resign. I don't even know what did I do, Nid? What did I do? For some reason, I couldn't super chat on the back post stream. Oh, weird. I don't know why. There were lots of super chats though. It was unbelievable support. To be fair, we gained. By the way, back post gained over 1,000 subscribers yesterday. Which was madness. Gyokeres, two non-penalty GA. I can be shameless and claim that he's better than Haaland now. Haaland only has like 2 pens. I did see someone said that Gyokeres not scoring many goals in the season, but then you get into the semi-finals of a cup and he gets a goal and an assist. He's Didier Drogba. Chelsea fans didn't take that too well, but... Maybe that's what he is. Maybe he's just going to show up in the big games. Need Gyokeres to score more goals? Yeah, for sure. Will you be doing more watch-alongs for the back post? Yes, we will be doing more watch-alongs for the back post. I hope the next one is going to be for game week 8 of the Champions League. Because all of the games are played at the same time. So that could be pretty crazy. Pigeonhead, thank you very, very much for gifting a membership to the channel. If you have just been gifted that membership, please do make sure to thank Pigeonhead in the chat. Absolute legend, Pigeonhead. Always here with the support. I do appreciate it. North London Derby watch-alongs on back post would be cinema. The only difficulty with the watch-alongs is that, generally speaking, all three of us go to home games. So yesterday, obviously, Tobes didn't. But, for us to all be there for a watch-along, especially if the game involves both of our teams, is going to be difficult. How was your trip to Norway? It was fantastic. Ethan Udall got the membership, I think. I love Norway. Do you know the best thing is? Literally, we went on what? Saturday? I streamed on Friday. We went on Saturday, came back Tuesday night and then straight back into it yesterday with the watch along. It's like literally just, yeah, you can just do it so easily. I feel like I need to make use of Europe being on our doorstep more. Nid only wants me naked, outed me on a global scale. Basically, you were the one that was asking for it. We need Ollie and Ben back on the pod. A 5-man pod would go crazy. Yeah, we've spoken about potentially having more than just the three of us on at some point. But did you see the fjords and stuff? Yeah, saw the fjords, saw Wales, went husky sledding. It's all on the Rory Talks TikTok if you want to see it. What's your opinions on Arteta's contract before the end of the year? Seems like at a minimum it means settling for mediocrity. I think it means, yeah, Luca will be on at some point as well. So this is the news. It came from Nico Shearer, I believe, that Arsenal are looking to tie down Mikel Arteta until 2029. Good. Like, if you don't understand yet that Mikel Arteta is one of the most elite managers on the planet, I can't help you. But he is. And not tying him, we should tie him down for as long as we possibly can. So yeah, for me, 100% happy with that. I don't think that's settling for mediocrity. How can you say it's settling for mediocrity when we're currently top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League? We've won the first leg of a cup semi-final and we're still in the FA Cup. I don't think that's mediocrity, personally. Like was opportunity. That's how I feel it, right? I feel it. So I do think coming out of last night's game where you had some Chelsea fans that were happier than Arsenal fans. Like, do you realise how mad the tables have turned for that to be the case? Chelsea lost at home in a cup semi-final game, and their fans were almost more happy than some of our fans. They're going, oh, but with the team that we had, only losing by goals, not so bad. That's crazy. Because realistically, they have spent double the money that we've spent in the last however long. They didn't have that many players missing. They were missing Moises Caicedo, who, by the way, was suspended. It wasn't an injury. He was suspended. They were missing Cole Palmer and both of their right backs. Well, we were missing both of our left backs in Hincapié and Calafiori. And other than that, it's two players. We've had games. We turned up against Aston Villa at home without Declan Rice, beat them 4-1. You know? I feel like it's crazy that they are happy losing at home. And we're walking away going, oh, that's a missed opportunity. Now, I do think it is a bit of a missed opportunity. Wait, is there lag? There shouldn't be lag. There shouldn't be lag. I think if there is lag, it's on your end, not mine. I think my end is fine. And there's only a couple of you saying it. So I think it might be a YouTube thing if you're struggling. So apologies for that. But yeah, I think the opportunity was when we were 3-1 up. Because firstly, when we were 2-0 up and when we were 3-1 up, we shouldn't have conceded goals. We shouldn't be conceding to Alejandro Garnacho. Both of the goals, I think, are preventable. So that was sloppy. At 3-1, Mikel Merino is incredibly unlucky not to score. It's one of those, it's a cliche, he hits it too well. Right-footed volley. And he hits it so cleanly. And Sanchez makes a fantastic save. But it's one of them where I think if Mikel Merino scuffs that into the ground, it probably goes in. And then, from the resulting corner, Big Gabby needs to score. Or at least put it on target. So we should have gone 4-1 up in that game. And at that point, I think the tie is over. But ultimately, Chelsea are still going to have to come and beat us at the Emirates, which no one has done yet this season. I don't think it's a bad result whatsoever. And at the start of the game, if you had said, we'll take a 1-0 win or a 1-goal lead, I'd have said, yeah, I'll take a 1-goal lead. Happily. Is the Gordon thing true? Well, we don't know if it's true. One of the biggest issues in today's game is that fans look at football on how things will affect in a month or 3 months rather than loving and living in the moment. Yeah, for sure. Ultimately, it's another win at Stamford Bridge. Mikel Arteta has never lost at Stamford Bridge. We have gone now, what? how many games have we gone now? 9 without losing to Chelsea? It's pretty impressive. Who do you think we should sign as a replacement to Declan Rice if he gets injured? Tricky one, because you need someone with legs. And I don't know who that is. Obviously, there's been a fair bit of talk about Ayub Buadi, but I'm not sure. 8 games, 4 wins, 4 draws. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Zubimendi, by the way, top 3 signings of the season alongside Saka and Gyokeres. Squeezing Gyokeres, isn't it? It's crazy. But no, Zubimendi has been phenomenal. That goal last night, by the way. Do you know how difficult to do that on your weak foot? I think to do a fake shot that you actually sell with your weak foot, I think is so impressive. Fofana, all over the place. Anderson, I think he'd be too expensive, and he's too good to be just depth. I think it needs to be someone young. I think it needs to be someone young with legs. Carl, thank you very, very much for being a member for 7 months. Was working, only saw parts on my phone and watched the highlights this morning. Shocked by the reaction, was told missing key players is an excuse, only us. Oh, 100%. 100%. All of the fans, rival fans, that screeched at us that missing players is irrelevant and not an excuse, are now saying that we should be beating a team by more goals because they had missing players. Does missing players make a difference or not? That's something that they're probably going to have to figure out. Rory, what do you think of Havertz in the midfield? It was an interesting one. To be honest, I didn't really agree with the subs. I didn't really agree with those final subs. I got the Martinelli one, but bringing on Jesus, I'll be honest, I'm not convinced bringing on Jesus when we're winning games is necessarily the solution. It stops us being able to go long. It stops us stretching defenses. It allows the opposition to gain control. I think I would have brought on, if I was going to take off Gyokeres, I'd have simply put Havertz up front for Gyokeres. And I think I'd have brought on Madueke for Bukayo Saka. I think I'd have just let Madueke run at Cucurella, who was on a booking. So I wasn't a fan of those 2 substitutions, to be honest. And obviously, taking off Rice for Havertz in midfield defensively is questionable. So yeah, wasn't a huge fan of it. It can't be a coincidence that every time we take Gyokeres off, we look worse, and a lot of the time we concede. It's not a coincidence. But it's like taking Gyokeres off when we're leading, it lets the opposition squeeze us more than they can if he's on. Because they don't have to worry about Jesus running in behind. And we, as a team, that's normally the signal that we stop pressing. So we stop pressing, the opposition are willing to take the risk on Jesus, and we lose control. And I do think we've seen it enough times now that you have to say it's not a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence. The Benny Blanco Gyokeres interview was cinema. It's just funny because neither of them are built for interviews. I like it though. It seems like Gyokeres and Ben White have got a good relationship. Obviously, they had that Brighton connection. And what Ben White did is what we need to do more. Just assume that Gyokeres is going to be there. And obviously, that is where this Saka Gyokeres thing has come from, right? And I do think, by the way, this has been massively blown out of proportion. Yeah, Saka should play that ball into Gyokeres, right? It ends up in a goal anyway. But yeah, Saka should play that ball. Saka has played that ball previously, and Gyokeres hasn't been there. Declan Rice has played that ball previously, and Gyokeres hasn't been there. We just need to work on that. We need to work on... I think you're better off assuming that Gyokeres will be there and playing it every time. Because even if he's not there, it can still cause problems. You play a ball, you flash a ball across the box like that. Even if Gyokeres isn't there, you're forcing the defenders and the keeper to make a decision, which could result in the keeper parrying it out to a player that's on the edge of the box, to a Gyokeres that is arriving. It can result in a corner. It can result in own goals. So... yeah, I think you should always take the gamble and assume that Gyokeres is arriving. And I can understand why when Gyokeres does get himself there and the ball doesn't come across, he gets frustrated. Because there are a lot of other teams where in that position you play to the striker's strengths. And at the moment, we don't always do that. Equally, I can understand Saka not always flashing it across. He has spent a long, long time not playing with the sort of striker that makes those runs. And he cuts back and he's looking for a Havertz that might normally be there or an Ødegaard. So, yeah, it's all just about more time playing with each other, getting used to each other, you know? Jim, thank you very, very much for the 6 months, half a year. What are we thinking of playing Madueke on the weekend? Maybe it will kick Saka into performing, or maybe it could be counterintuitive. Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. How much do you rotate against Nottingham Forest away? Because on paper, they are in poor form. On paper, this is one of the easier games. That said, it's away, it's under the lights, the City ground isn't easy, and so I think you can rotate a couple. I wonder if Miles Lewis-Skelly starts. I think Timber, we're pushing Timber at this point. I think we're pushing Timber to his limit, and I worry about that. With the attack, I mean, I'd love to see Kai Havertz start, to be honest with you. But then do you start Gyokeres and try and build on the momentum? It's a difficult one. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Once we've got some of the team news and stuff, we'll talk about it tomorrow in the preview stream. But yeah, look, I think the thing is Saka is the golden boy. And we heard this when he signed the new contract, and that all came out last week, or he hasn't officially signed it yet, but agreed to it. There was an article that came out talking about how, you know, Saka is the franchise. He is the franchise player. He has been told no one will ever come in and be paid more than him. That's a difficult player to then drop. And I'm not a huge fan of having a player that has that much sort of power. I am hoping that Saka is kind of just conserving himself for the end of the season, for the running. But it is, you know, his performances haven't been at the level that we know he can perform at. I don't think that's unfair to say. Sean Dyche has impacted our title charges every season. Yeah, but they've been poor, but they have had a week to prepare for it. So, you know, which way do you go? Eza to start against Forest? Maybe off the left. I could see that. He started off the left against Forest last time, didn't he? And that was where he assisted Gyokeres. And that's a great example. Eza assisting Gyokeres against Nottingham Forest. It's one of the only times we've seen a player play a ball like that quickly, early into Gyokeres, and he was there for it. So, what I meant by settling for mediocrity was imagine if we fall off second half, or at least don't win anything, but sign Arteta before the end of the year. Isn't that us settling? Yeah, but it's difficult because, like, from Arteta's perspective, he's thinking, you know, are this club committed to me? What you don't want to do is Arteta wins and then walks, which I don't think he would, but it's always a difficult balancing act, I think. Nids yapping. Wouldn't it be great if we played the Jaws theme every time we win a corner at the Emirates just to annoy the opposition? Does the Prem allow it? The Prem does not allow it, no. It would be quite fun. It is crazy. Like, the way our set pieces have just become this just insane thing. And, like, you look at the goal last night, Ben White's goal, the delivery from Declan Rice is unbelievable. For all of the talk of, you know, whatever our plan is on set pieces and Nicholas Jova, there aren't many teams at all that have got someone delivering balls like Declan Rice with the consistency and the whip that he's delivering them with. Like, David Beckham was, you know, praised. I mean, David Beckham's ability to deliver a ball like Declan Rice is doing was like Beckham's entire identity. You know, you have films made after it. And Declan Rice is just doing it casually. It's crazy. Arteta said he knew nothing about the throwing guy, despite it all being confirmed. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, to be fair. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, moving on. We will talk about the... actually, whilst we're talking about Nottingham Forest, there's an interesting thing. Nottingham Forest want to send Zenchenko back to Arsenal. Nottingham Forest do not want Zenchenko at their club anymore on loan. Apparently, Zinchenko has been told that. They're trying to figure out a way of getting Zinchenko out the door. But, smartly, Arsenal left nothing in that contract that meant that they could send him back. There is nothing in that loan deal that allows, without our permission, Zinchenko to be sent back to Arsenal. We don't need him. We don't need to be paying his wages. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Because there's just zero incentive for us to take Zenchenko back. Like, he wouldn't play. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Arteta lies, just like Rory. Now the streams will be regular. Are we not here, Nid? Are we not literally here? We were live last night on the back post. We're live here right now. We're live tomorrow for the preview. We're live on Saturday for the watch-along. Doubt me now. Watching opponents' reactions when the ball goes out for a corner is beautiful. Hope someone is making montages. The funniest for me is, I don't know if you've seen, there's a couple of videos of Chelsea fans abusing Declan Rice when he's taking the corner, and one of them's abusing Saliba during the corner. And we score from both of them. Well, we score from that corner from which both of the videos are taken. And it's just so funny because they're gassing it up. They're abusing Rice and Saliba, and then we score. And the devastation is it's hilarious. Do you still stream on Big Up? Yeah, the watch along on Saturday will be on Big Up. We will be back on Big Up for the watch along on Saturday. 100%. Rory, help. I was just stirring tea and I drained the tea bag and it slipped out of the mug and went onto my white hoodie. This happened like 10 minutes ago. What should I do? Rage quit. Rage quit the tea making opposition. The tea making operation. I would say now, tea stain the entire hoodie, make it look deliberate. Now you've got the opportunity, turn it into a tea stained hoodie and pretend that was the plan. That's what I would do. Gareth's here. You'll love to see it. Seen the Rice one, not the Saliba one. Yeah, the Saliba one was even funnier. It was right behind the goal. Waiting for the Road 69 playthrough, man. I do want to bring back the gaming streams, you know. I do want to bring them back. Maybe I will. Weren't Chelsea fans talking about the Saliba video? Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were talking about that old Saliba video. But yeah, so that's Zinchenko. I mean, the only way I see Zinchenko's loan, the only way I see it happening is if Zenchenko gets recalled from the Forest loan and goes somewhere else on loan. Like, that's the only way that happens. But yeah, so on to this Anthony Gordon thing. Now, first of all, it is worth saying this came from AFC Camden or AFC. I never know if it's AFC Amden or AFC Camden. Either way, he is an Arsenal fan who is also an in the know, and he has had things in the past where you're like, he definitely gets information from somewhere. He has said things that have come true that you could only know if you had the information. But he does also sometimes troll. So you've got to bear both of those things in mind. But according to him, it is understood that Arsenal are targeting a move for Anthony Gordon this summer. I don't like it. Hand of Arsenal is in the building. Hand of Arsenal is here. Shout out, Rory. Seen a lot of winger chat today. Yeah, there has been some winger chat today. Can you tell me, please, that we're signing Kenan Yildiz? Could you tell me, please, that we're signing Kenan Yildiz and not Anthony Gordon? Could you do that for me, please? But yeah, so that's what AFC Camden was saying. Anthony Gordon. Now, one thing I do know for a fact is this. Newcastle have been looking to sell Anthony Gordon for the last 18 months. Newcastle have regularly offered Anthony Gordon to Arsenal, Liverpool. They have been, because when it's come to PSR, that is a player that they can make money on, that they would be happy to get out the door. That's a bad sign in itself, right? And for me, he's not a level raiser. I don't think he's any better than Gabriel Martinelli. Certainly not a high enough level that I would be like, yeah, sell Martinelli and bring in Anthony Gordon. If anything, I'd rather spend a third of the money that it would cost you to get Gordon and get Harvey Barnes. But I don't want either of them. I want Kenan Yildiz, Bradley Barcola. I'd still even take Rodrigo. Didn't Ornstein keep mentioning Gordon and Arsenal as a story to follow in the summer? He did. That is a great point. That is a great point. And every time he did it, we said it was weird. Remember that. Remember in the summer the amount of times that Ornstein, and only Ornstein, kept mentioning Gordon with Arsenal. That is true. That does give some more credibility to it. He also said Antoine Semenyo called Arsenal and asked the club to make a move to sign him this month or guarantee a summer move before he joined Man City. However, both Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta don't do guarantees. Again, I mean, that's an interesting one. If that's true, this is where I'm like, that could be him trolling because he can troll. That could be him trolling. If it's true, I can understand it. I can understand why we can't sign him in January, right? In terms of money. I get that. I think even if you weren't going to end up doing it, you could guarantee him a move in the summer. I think you could have turned around and gone, yeah, just wait. We'll sign you in the summer. Don't worry about it. Stay at Bournemouth. We'll sign you in the summer. It would be a bad thing to do. It wouldn't be great for reputation. It wouldn't be great for relations. But you could do it. And then come back to it in the summer. But we didn't. Have you seen the Vinny link? I don't believe it, but still. I don't want Vinicius Jr. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't want Vinicius Jr. I don't think... Firstly, I think when he's off the boil, he is an absolute waste, right? And I also really worry about his attitude. And I know it can be... You know, I know talking about players' attitudes can sometimes be unfair, but I think with Vinny, he was the only player that didn't even leave a message for Xabi Alonso when he left. He wants to be the number one guy. You know, he's coming in. He's still not number one. Saka is number one. I just don't like it. I'd rather get Rodrigo. And Rodrigo's even had his own issues at Real Madrid. But ultimately, for me, I'm taking Bradley Barcola, or in a dream world, Kenan Yildiz. That would be where I would be going. I missed a Hand of Arsenal chat. Did I? Where? Where did I miss it? Did he chat more than once? He said, shout out Rory. That was the one I read out. Did he message again? I don't think so. Oh, he did. How can you guarantee if he got injured? Yeah, well, no, that's a fair point. And that's the thing. You can't make guarantees, right? But I feel like you could, without signing anything, verbally, you could be like, yes, if you maintain this form and you stay injury-free, we will come in the summer. Maybe we don't want him. Maybe that's the case. But I would definitely say Semenyo would have been a better option than Gordon. Now, who knows how much truth there is to the Gordon thing. I kind of wish we lied to Semenyo and guaranteed that we'd sign him in the summer just to keep him from City this season. We need that type of ruthlessness. There's a balance to that, though. Zachary God, thank you very, very much for the $5, by the way. That is incredibly generous. There's a fine line because it is genuinely beneficial to have good relations with agents, with other clubs, and your sort of... your notoriety within football. And I wouldn't want us to be that club. I get the ruthlessness of it. There's a fine line between ruthlessness and just being pricks, basically. But no, I hear what you're saying. And again, I think hand of Arsenal with the injury point makes a fair point too. It's difficult. Arsenal have always been a club that holds reputation in the highest regard, hence why they will not do business with Sporting Lisbon again anytime soon. Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. That would be a classless thing to do. Yeah. Rory, I've watched a lot of stuff about transfers. Do you feel some clubs are just business, pretending to be FBCs to increase shareholder value? Well, yeah, to an extent. I mean, you look at Chelsea's business. A lot of that business just doesn't make sense. If you were to look at, if you had to make the argument, right, that a club, their only ambition should be to win consistently. That's the ambition. Win in the short term and sustain yourselves to do that in the long term. That is what I think Arsenal have worked towards. That is a situation City have got themselves in, albeit with 115 charges, but now they're there, it's sustainable. Chelsea are not doing that in any way, shape, or form. You cannot look at what Chelsea have done and suggest that they are prioritizing success. They are prioritizing business. Look at Buonanotte. That alone, how does that make any sense whatsoever? It doesn't. So yeah, I think that is the case. Rory, on a side note, would you recommend someone to start a YouTube channel content creation to make good money? How realistic would you tell someone to be with it? How have you found it? I mean, it's a difficult one to ask, right? I've been doing YouTube on and off for 3 years. For the last year or so, I've tried to really commit to it. And it is still, I don't make anywhere near enough money from YouTube alone to do it full time. If my only source of income was YouTube, I would have to have another job, like an actual job. Fortunately, I've got TikTok, I've got Instagram, a good following on there, brand deals, stuff like that. And altogether, it allows me to do it as a full-time job. And I'd say I've got a decent following on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. And even with those followings, I'm still not able to grow the YouTube, or haven't been able to grow the YouTube enough for it to be a full-time thing. However, you could be a lot better at YouTube than me. And so you could grow on YouTube a lot more quickly than me. It's very difficult. The reality is, for everyone that tries to do YouTube, it's like 0.1%, if that are actually able to do it for a living. So, yeah. To be honest, my biggest thing would be this. Don't start content creation with the ambition of it being a job. Don't start content creation with your main focus being making enough money to do it or to be rich, because you won't make money quick enough to be happy and enjoy doing it if that's what your objective is. All of this started for me on TikTok when I had a good full-time job. I had no ambition of ever making content as like a career or anything. I just wanted to talk about Arsenal on TikTok. And it kind of just spiraled into this. Pigeonhead, thank you for the $2. Grow the YouTube for Rory. Well, if you could subscribe, whilst we're talking about that, if you could subscribe, Pigeonhead, thank you very, very much for the $2. I do really appreciate it. What happened to the Heineken sponsor thing you said you had? Well, it came out. It was weird. So basically, it was a pilot. So on my Instagram, you'll see there was one like 15-second video that came out of it. But basically, I watched the game with, it was Heineken and it was this pub chain. And me and James Alcott watched the game. We were filmed watching the game. And as far as I could tell, like a 15-second video of me celebrating the goals basically was all that came out of it. So, yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know. They were doing it as a pilot, so it was the same with like if you saw the courtroom thing that I filmed with Betfair, right? We were there for a whole day in this courtroom. We filmed, I think we filmed 24. Was it 24? No, 6. We filmed 18 like 10-minute long debates through that day. And again, it ended up just going out as short form content. I'm like, that could have been incredible YouTube content, and they filmed it all. But we get paid to be there at the end of the day. We don't get paid to decide what goes out as content. So, what was your job before this? I was a marketing manager. So I was running all of the marketing for a company, or all of the content side of marketing for a company. So social media, ads, all of that sort of thing. He got to watch a game with James Alcott. Jealous? Yeah, it was the Arsenal Atletico Madrid game. It was great. It was really good fun. It's so weird seeing old TikToks from you with no beard, such a baby face. I know. They give me a bit of a fright when I see them, to be honest. I think you start creation for passion. You might or might not make money. Rory was also lucky and putting a lot of work, with all due respect. Yeah, but if you don't start because it's a passion, you're never ever going to make it at all. So, but also, yeah, like I was making. I think I went about 700 days in a row where I uploaded at least one TikTok every single day for 700 days. And for the first year of that, I was working a full-time job. So all of the content creation was coming in the evenings or like on a lunch break or whatever. And you don't get paid for it at all. But the point was never to get paid. The point was that I enjoyed building a little community. Who do you think drops out of the squad when Calafiori comes back? Good question. I think to be truthful with you, when Calafiori and Hincapié are back and Mosquera's coming back, I think Miles Lewis-Skelly might find himself dropping out of the squad, if I'm honest with you, based on performances, which is difficult. I saw you in an older video say always support the English teams in European competition, talking about Chelsea. Don't think you think this anymore. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I did, and that used to be my feeling. And to an extent, it still is. But doing this and now being so like immersed in online social media fan bases has genuinely made me dislike teams more than I used to. And I know, like, if Chelsea now do well in the Champions League, Chelsea fans are going to give me shit for it. So it used to be, because I didn't used to be really involved in the social media side of football. Like, before I started making my own content, I didn't consume that much of it. So I never really had, I have friends that supported other teams, but it was never really like that. Whereas now it's genuinely infuriating if other rival teams in the Premier League are doing well. Have you got a ticket for United yet? No, not yet. Mikel claps like a seal, although I'm a fan of the guy. I can't lie about that. Does he clap like a seal? Maybe a little bit. He does that one sometimes, doesn't he? What are your thoughts on Xabi Alonso's being sacked from Real Madrid? Yeah, Real Madrid are idiots. They sacked him and then they lost to Albacete in the cup. They're idiots. But they're going to keep having that problem if they insist on letting player power win. They keep insisting on letting player power win. They're going to keep having the same problems. How did you meet the Back Post crew? Through TikTok. So all of us are TikTokers. And I can't remember exactly, because for a while, like, me and Ben beefed when Ben first joined TikTok. I had a couple of back and forths with Seb and Tobes. And like, there was a period where there were a lot of us that were doing what we do, but we weren't friends. We didn't really talk to each other. We'd meet at like charity games sometimes. I think with Ben and Seb, it was, I did their podcast. I went on there when it was the Bottle Job podcast. I went on that. And we were meant to film for like an hour and a half, but we ended up just chatting like off camera for ages and ages and ages. And then, I don't know. We've kind of all just become friends, basically. What was the beef? So originally it started with Ben, so Ben arrived on the scene on TikTok, right? He called himself Ben Talks Football. So immediately I'm like, well, okay. Then he makes the video. His first big video was calling me out because it was the game. I don't know if you remember it. Luton lost to Spurs when Spurs had 10 men at home. Luton lost. I made a video slamming Luton, saying that they deserve to get relegated. They don't belong in the Premier League. Turns out I was right, by the way. And Ben replied to that, right, where he kind of stitched it a little bit unfairly anyway in terms of the clip that he took out of it from me. And then he just got on this high horse. And that was his first big video. And then we had a bit of a back and forth about that. But hey, I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle. Funny enough, I found your channel from the viral clip where you said that the Arsenal 22-23 season was better than the Leicester season if we won the league. Best decision ever, though. Yeah, I mean, that one is still... By the way, that's still brought up so much that it kind of like... It's a good thing in a way because it means I can't have had that many horrendous takes if that one is still brought up. I shouldn't have said it in the way that I said it, but I don't even think... Compared to some other things that some other people say, I don't even think it was that bad. Enemies to lovers. Yeah. Good evening, Ben Bowman. Would you do Misfits boxing? No, not unless I got paid a massive amount of money. Did anyone see the thing about Rosinha talking to Chelsea players and staff about washing hands because they're all getting ill? Like Cole Palmer's in year 1. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you enjoy going on pitch side? I enjoyed going on pitch side. Pitch side viewers did not enjoy me going on pitch side. And then that meant that the reaction to me going on pitch side was terrible, which meant I then didn't want to go on there because it was like just abuse, basically. I think football went too woke with directors of football and player power. Now it's coming back to normal, basically skinny jeans, baggy jeans kind of thing. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. The first video I remember watching was you talking about people comparing Arteta to Ten Hag in 22-23. Yeah. I mean, the amount of ones that... Since then, think about the amount of times Arteta's been... or a manager has been compared to Arteta. Bloody Ten Hag, Amorim, Postecoglou, excuse me, Maresca, all to be sacked. Yeah, Rosinha's comments about managing. He is David Brent combined with Will from the In-Betweeners. No to Gordon for me. I agree. What's the best show/channel you've been on? Good question. What is the best show or channel that I've been on? I always like doing the Zach Jalab shoots. I think they're good. The debate ones. I think they're really well run. I do enjoy that. Actually, no. The best thing I've done, and again, to be fair, I got a lot of hate in the comments, which made it slightly less enjoyable when it actually came out. The Generation Football 501 World Cup was like such a fun day of filming. It was such a fun day of filming. Could have just had your own channel. I could have said my own channel. I could have done that. I remember your very first TikTok where I commented you liking your own video to boost your numbers. Yeah. I still do it from all my other accounts. Are you any good at darts? Not really. I play it, but not really. How's Clive Palmer in real life? Seems warm and big-hearted. Really nice. Clive is a lovely guy. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for him. Out of you, Ben, Seb, and Tobes, who are you all similar to out of Simon, Jay, Neil, and Will? I would say Tobes is like Jay. I would say... I don't think any of us are like Neil, really. I'd say me, Seb, and Ben are all fairly similar. I'm probably more like Will. Simon and... Seb's probably like Simon a little bit. But I don't think Ben's Neil. Darts 501 is rigged comment. Lives for it rent-free. People just didn't... I think the issue with that, the issue with the Generation Football thing was it's a really similar audience to the pitch side audience because Tom Garrett has helped massively grow Generation Football from the start. So there's kind of a massive crossover there. And they just don't like me. Like that side of the internet just do not. But they don't get, I don't think they understand my personality at all. So like when I go, oh, it's rigged, I'm obviously joking, but they think I'm being serious. And I feel like that happened an awful lot. So yeah. My son just said your pod is really, really good. Prop compliment that. Leeds Gunner, I appreciate it. And appreciate your son for watching. What a legend. What a legend. Anyway, look, that is going to be the end of the show. Kind of just went on a little bit of a Q&A there at the end, which was fun. I appreciate you all for watching. I also forgot, I'm live on Latte Firm tonight at like 9 o'clock. So I'm going live with FK on Latte Firm, if any of you enjoy watching that. So yeah, I'm live on there at 9, and then we'll be back tomorrow with the preview for the Nottingham Forest game. And like I said, we'll be live for a watch along on Saturday on Big Up. But look, I will either see you quiz. There's no quiz question. I keep forgetting the quiz question. We're not going to do one now, but I'm going to put a quiz thing here so that I remember to do it tomorrow. There we go. I'll remember to do it tomorrow. I apologize. But yeah, I appreciate you for watching. Please do like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I will catch you either on the Latte Firm or tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.